I will toddle through today's presentation. So my background is in comms, but I've broken lots of rules today because I've got 10 ideas to pass to you, which is ridiculous. So this presentation is going to be sent to you. It's really designed for slide share, lots to sit on and think about. So I'm only going to touch on each slide today, and maybe we'll see how we do in 25 minutes. So yes, content tactics rather than strategy, but let's see what we can do. So my name is Wedge. It really is. These things happen, and you can find me. And I got the Twitter handle, so I'm mad on Twitter because if I can't get my own handle on a social network, then it's dead to me. I don't want it. But I got Wedge on Twitter, so do find me, and you can find me on my website. And I think somewhere in the navigation it says conferences, and that will lead you to my Intranet Now conference, which is October 13, and you will no doubt see Kevin there. So, intranet content tactics. Today, I'm only going to talk about a modicum, the communications and content parts of your intranet. Hopefully, you recognize some of these things as what you are already doing on your intranet, and depending on your culture and your business needs, you may have a very strong focus on collaboration. You may have a very strong focus on business processes. There's certainly actual value, like monetary value, in these sort of things. If you can streamline how people do their work online, you've got a digital workplace. So, ka-ching, success. I'm only going to touch on communications and a little bit of knowledge management and the idea of sharing, because if we've got good content and good communications, our social networks, our internal social networks, people will already want to help each other get to your good content, or hopefully their good content. So I have like 10 ideas for you, and as I say, it's a ridiculous slideshow, I do apologize, but you can have these ideas by visiting this ridiculous link, d.pr/DL capital J capital X. That's handy, isn't it? It's a short URL, so you can share it on Twitter, but ridiculous on screen. But as I say, Kevin is going to share this entire presentation with you when you get back to your desks. So I'm talking about content tactics, which fits into, of course, the larger picture of content strategy. How many people here have an intranet strategy you can put your hand on? Yay, okay, so the rest of you haven't got a clue. No direction for your intranet. Well, I don't believe that. I'm sure you have an intranet strategy, but you failed to write it down or share it with anyone. Is that right?
No, there's no internet strategy.
That's honest. Thank you there. Okay, that's where we are. So I would suggest that your content strategy needs to either be part of your intranet strategy or support it directly, in the same way that your intranet strategy must support your business strategy indirectly and directly, and your comm strategy. There's a lot of strategies going on here, isn't there? So I'm going to define content strategy via Christina, who's a wonderful author, and you should download her books immediately. Paying for them, I didn't mean for free. Content strategy plans for the creation, publication, and governance of useful, usable content. And it's those two words that I love, useful and usable. It must be useful. It must have a purpose. It must be on your intranet for a reason. And then usable is a very different word. Your HR policies may be useful, but they're possibly not usable. If I'm trying to do my expenses and I've got a dining expense I want to put in for £98, I really need to know, am I going to get away with this? Or is there a limit at around about £13? Now, if I have to open your 14-page HR policy and then scan read it looking for expenses and dining out, that's going to take me 2, 3, 4 minutes, and I'm quite annoyed. Usable content should be at the point of need. So as I'm doing my expenses, something should be there, just saying, do you realize your limit is here? Your approving manager, this is his or her name. So it's usable. So 2 great words there from Christina, and there's Rachel as well, who you should also refer to when dealing with content strategy. But I'm going to gamble through content tactics today. So it's content strategy, but it's micro content strategy. We're going to be dealing with page. So Simon said start with the content page design, and that's where I'm at. We need to look at our page layout so that our pages are readable and that they communicate well. So it's very microscopic, really. It's very detail-led. But let's start with the home page. So we've seen some beautiful homepages today. Today you're going to see some of my terrible sketches. So your homepage is full of dry or overly complicated headlines, I worry or suspect. And the difficulty with this is that we're all trying to make people read our stuff. We have stuff that we want people to have. We don't really know if people want that stuff, but our stakeholders want us to get it out there to people. In a way, we're pushing buttons. Yes, I have published your news. Yes, I have published your content. So that is tactical, but we're also pushing buttons faster than we should be. What I would suggest is that not only must the content require a decent amount of thought and time and review process, but so do your headlines. The only thing that your intranet headlines should be doing is helping people decide what to read and what not to read. And it's what not to read that I'd like to highlight. If people can look at your homepage and work out irrelevant, not for me, already know, that's fantastic. I had a director take me aside and say, since we got you on board, Wedge, we've been publishing a lot more news. And I said, oh, thank you. He wasn't complimenting me. He was letting me know that his customer service people have a job that keeps them busy on the phones every minute of every hour. And he wanted to ensure that we had a content strategy that supported business. And I had to take a long, hard look at our communication schedule, our pipeline, upcoming things that you've promised your stakeholders. And what I saw was I was publishing a lot of people stories. And we all love people stories, but there's only so many fun runs, cake stalls, and raising money for charity you should have on your homepage. And I learned there are other areas on the intranet, community areas, that those sort of people stories can work really well for. So the purpose of an intranet headline is to help people choose what to read and what not to read. And you probably know these rules, and I wonder, have you got a style guide that's easy to read that your contributors and your writers and your editors can follow? And is your style guide based on grammar from the last century? Is it based on your experience? Or is it based on evidence and plain English? Mine's based on what I say is right. I like flautist instead of flutist. But I really should use more evidence, don't you think? Do you prefer flutist, as the Americans do, for a flute? No. So we're all very international British English, of course. What's this? Why? It's your CEO. Your CEO has said something, so he or she has published something, or you've published it for them, so of course we've got their picture against it. How valuable is it to see your CEO every week or every month, from 2011 when they had their headshot taken? How valuable is that image? I would suggest that we can do more with our images, because images capture people's attention and they also convey more information than words alone. Also, it's about structure. It's been found that if you throw an image on a page, it will have more attention, more reading time. Even if the image is kind of tenuous, it might be illustrative, but it's not entirely communicative. This is because, I imagine, when we structure a page well, people can find where their eye is on your paragraphs. So obviously great paragraph breaks, lots of white space, subheadings. Imagine publishing an article over 300 words that doesn't have a subheading. No one here would do that. So images also break up the layout, and it adds interest and that sort of thing. So we can do better than just the headshot of the CEO, I would imagine. Did that move? Now it did. And I've got some rules again, and these are slightly technical. Everyone knows the difference between JPEG and PNG? Of course we do, we're publishers. JPEGs are great if you've got complicated colours, gradient colours and skin tones. PNGs are great when you're doing your screenshots, which I know we all do. Oh, I'll just screenshot it and put it on the internet. It might be a process map, it might be a PowerPoint thing that you've communicated, so you screenshot it. Use a PNG, don't use a JPEG for your screenshots, because it'll degrade and add weird artifacts. And this sort of thing can be in the appendix of your style guide, so you can help people do a little bit better with the technical matters. What's wrong with this image? I mean, I quite like her, but what's wrong with this image for your intranet? It's the wrong size. Well, for your intranet, perhaps. I've got a big intranet. So yes, you would do something to crop it, you would make it more visually interesting. But I would say the problem with it is that it's a stock image. Clearly, this is a setup. Probably completely irrelevant to any of your stories on your intranet. So I would say, why are you buying it? It probably cost you $40 and you'll probably use it 9 times in the next year. How dull is that? Why don't you just take a photograph of whatever you're talking about? Go and do it in your own office with your iPhone. What's wrong with this image? For your intranet, what's wrong with this image? I had a great answer the last time I asked. Someone beat it, come on. A bit apocalyptic, I like that, yes. The last person reminded us that it looks like someone who's on fire, and that would be bad for the intranet. But the terrible thing about this, the terrible thing about this apocalyptic image is that that's Agent Smith from The Matrix. So it's stolen, because in no way does anyone running an intranet, or even a website really, have the right to publish a still from a film. So it's okay here, because it's a presentation, it's a private showing for you guys, but I would never publish Agent Smith on the intranet or even my website. I just don't have the legal right to do that. And I don't have to ask, this is clip art. Hopefully you've stopped using that in Word, never mind in your publishing. So we can do better than that, is the point I am making. And better than that might look something like this. It's very designery and it has images to attract interest, let you know where to click. Those small images, you can click them if your mouse can't find the hyperlink. And I think we've seen this already today. So you can click those images if your mouse can't find the hyperlink. Brilliant for navigation and getting around your news. Okay, talking about hyperlinks and getting around your news, what's this? It is a box. What's in the box? That's a game that you may have played if you've ever been in a working man's club. Yes, you all look like you spend a lot of time in workies. Well, I did. I'm from the north, you know. So there's a game called Open the Box, and you put your pound down and you take a bunch of keys and you see if you can open the box. And of course you can't because there's 100 keys. You lose your pound and everyone plays the next week. It's very exciting up north. The point is you don't know if it's worth it. Is it worth opening the box for the several pounds I'm going to pay to try and get into it? And hyperlinks are the same. When you publish a hyperlink, when you put a link somewhere, whether it's in an email or on your intranet, does the user, does the reader know what's going to happen when they click it? Because that's the point. We're not supposed to confuse. It's not a puzzle game. It's not open the box. If you're publishing and you're expecting people to get around your intranet, your hyperlinks need to be explicit. The keywords need to be hyperlinked. That means avoiding click here. And have you noticed read more is the new click here? Read more, read more. Okay, well, if I'm on a blog, like I often am, there's going to be 15 read mores. That's quite annoying if you've got assistive technology, because your computer will be saying, read more, read more, read more. And it's not clear what you're getting. I'm reading more of something. I'd rather click the title. I'd rather click something that is explicit. And here I've given an example, a good example in my mind. Not only am I linking to a PDF, and I hate PDFs. I like pages. But it does happen. So navigation design using card sorting. So you know what you're going to get. You're going to get what you want about card sorting. But I've also said it's a PDF. And I've also told you that it's 425 kilobytes. Now, you may not really care what a kilobyte is, but that does look smaller than a megabyte, doesn't it? So you're going to click it, even if you're on your mobile phone on 3G, and you're going to get it. So the idea is meaningful text and explicit, so that the person knows what they're going to get when they click. And some rules. I don't know if these are controversial, because how many of you have quick links on your intranet homepage? Thank you, so honest. Are they personal to the user, or did you set them for everyone? Right, so I have to ask you, how do you know they're quick? As opposed to all the slow links. And the answer is because you decided they were important links for your business, but I have to ask, how do you know they're important? You might have some stats to tell me, well, actually, Wedge, we did research, and these are the top used links over the year. And I'd say, that's fantastic. When will you update them? That's fair enough, if you've got the stats. This is always controversial. Oh, we love the alphabet because that way everyone knows how to go down the page and find what they want. But the fact is, we all use different semantics. We have a different mental model in our minds about what is called what. So can anyone tell me the name of their expense program or system? Oh, good. That's my only example. So yes, I used to use Concur. Are there any competitors to Concur? No. So Concur is C, but expenses is E. So please explain to me where I'm to look in an alphabetical list. Why not group them by function? So expenses, day-to-day, travel, expenses, booking a holiday, that's a group of things. Give it a subheading. Great, you've just created some navigation. So what's this? So I normally tell a very quick story of, you're doing that self-checkout and it just doesn't work. So you think, oh, good grief. You've either got to get some help or you've got to type in the handy 18-digit number. And that's not how we work. Everything is about scanning these days. We are near field, we're tapping, we're waving, we're scanning. And it is the same with reading. I'm sorry to break it to you. Did I go too far? Sorry, no, that's good. Sorry to break it to you, but no one's reading what you're writing. And I know, because I write possibly more than you. I am blogging left, right and centre. I am tweeting, I'm Facebooking, I'm all over it. And no one's reading it, and I'm not reading anything either. But we are scan reading. We are all scan reading. We're looking for the relevant bits that work for us. We're often looking for hyperlinks so that we can find the next good thing. Click, click, click. We're often looking for subheadings so we can say, oh, right, this is now the meat of the article. Now, you're already trained in journalistic intentions, so you already know the inverted pyramid / triangle. So I won't bore you with that idea of put the important things at the top, because, again, how do we know what's important? But there's something about the what, who, why, where, when, how that we will always stick to. But some kind of layout to your page so that by the time people get to the bottom, that's where either some extra contextual links are, or that's where the actual context is. So give people an easy scan read, and that again comes down to page layout. Break it up with your subheadings, white space, short paragraphs, and images. And you might know the F pattern of reading already. So you know the idea that when we're scan reading, we're going down the page, and we're flicking our eyes across, but only a few times. Apparently, if we're reading, if you do the heat maps on reading, we just scan down the left-hand side of the page, flick across for subheadings, and that's kind of it. So if the interesting words aren't on the left of the page, we might miss out. But we're really good at scan reading. And so because we're good at scan reading, I suggest that our images, our ancillary additional images, must be on the right-hand side. So if your page layout is different to that top, because that's the perfect intranet page, by the way, at the top. I'm so sorry, it's so small that you can't see it. That's by design, because what is a perfect intranet page? But that's an example of a perfect intranet page. Headline, summary, if we spend extra minutes crafting our summaries, we'll do really good at communication. People will get what we're talking about. Spend more time on headlines and summaries. Image on the right, subheading, nice pull quote with a named person. Click on their name, go to their directory profile, perfect intranet page. However, if the image that you're publishing is actually the main content, the meat of the thing, like a process map, you're welcome to break this rule and put it on the left. So as I say, I've got some rules. There we go. What's this? It's your search box. So we haven't got a clue what's going to happen. I might type something into it. Do I press enter or do I hit enter? Do I click? Nobody knows. I might get content search results, but will I get people search results as well? Nobody knows. Search is really hard for people to get to grips with. They have to actually practice and learn it. You might actually want 2 search boxes on your intranet. I know one can suffice. One search box can do people and content, but actually people are looking for people, sometimes 80% of their searches. So why not give them a people search box just to please them? That's all we're trying to do, isn't it? The trouble with search is you may not be a search configurator, you may not be the search administrator, but you are a content publisher. So your content in some ways has to help the search engine, help people find your content. And that means SEO. You've all got your web header. I'm sure you're probably forced to look after your external website as well. Oh, you're an internet manager, you can do the website as well, can't you? It'll only take you 5 minutes. So SEO, the sort of structure, the sort of keywords you're using, the subheadings that you're using for SEO purposes externally, we can do internally. Might come down to tagging. Talk to your search IT person. and a little checklist which you can download and see if that's sensible for your environment. So yes, we are pleased to announce. How often have you written this? We are pleased to announce. Are we? I really don't think we are. You know, if we were pleased, people would be able to sense it. Show, don't tell. Let's stop opening, especially when you do a search result. So do a search on your intranet for pleased to announce. And if they all come up, and if you've got 100 press releases, something is wrong with your opening statements and wrong with your communication. So if you take anything away from me today, let's just kill this phrase and reduce PDFs. So I say, write for your audience, not for your boss. Sometimes your stakeholder will say, this is needed to be communicated. And you go, that is fantastic, I completely understand. You've explained it to me, I've got the brief. And then you go away and you write it, and you hand in the first draft and say, can we rearrange the first sentence? I don't like semicolons, please replace that with full stops. And you're like, hang on, everything that you wanted is in this article, and I am the communicator. I would like you to have that confidence to say, well, you gave me the brief, and as we have covered the brief entirely, this is the best way to get people to read what you're looking for. I wish I could, help every communicator talk to their stakeholders and say, no, I've covered the brief, you've seen the meat of the article, the fluffy bit is my job. And if you're an expert and if you've got the data to back it up, then I wish you all the best. I have an equation for you to help support that. You can look at this. It's a little voiceover video. I'm against video as a communication method because it's incredibly hard to reference. How do you ever watch a video twice? The first 2 minutes are annoying, aren't they? But this is a little voiceover that you can have a look. It's a voiceover video, and it just keeps repeating this message, though. Match the message to the audience, to the channel. That's the comms equation, isn't it? Digital channels these days, but in any communication environment, that's the equation, I think. And so you've heard how I feel about Word and PDF documents a little bit already. What I'm saying is that they can be difficult to manage. If a PDF is published and I want to deal with it, as a useful and usable piece of content, how will I reuse it? I might be able to share it with a colleague, but what if I wanted to reuse page 4 only? I might not have the tools. Also, when it requires updating, and HR are very good at this, when HR have to update a PDF policy, they have to go and find their original Word document. Now that's fine if they've got a nice Teams site on the intranet that this is for Teams site and our collaborative work, and we do our Word documents here, and over here is our publishing site, and this is where we publish our PDFs. I understand that works, but it's a bit cumbersome, isn't it? Why not just deal with content in situ? Why not work with Word documents and collaborate on them, 3, 4 people writing it together? Or why not just do that on the intranet? If you've got 2,000 words, split that up into a suite of 6 intranet pages and let people go through the pages they require. Word documents are incredibly linear. We're not supposed to be building a linear communication system with an intranet. We're building a web. So if you have a suite of intranet pages, a person can dive in where they want to. They can go to the next page as well. There's the navigation. But also it's great for search results as well, because if I want to talk about beach balls, the beach ball intranet page will come up, and that's fantastic, instead of the generic balls Word document. I don't want generic... I'm not going to say that. I don't want the generic Word document. I want the specific beach ball intranet page, so I get my answer and I go away happy. And that's my entire lecture, really. So what I'm saying over here is think about, when do I need a document and when do I need an intranet page? And I suggest the default should be, let's see if we can do this with one intranet page. Let's see if we can do this with a suite of intranet pages that are interlinked. I did some personal research on whether people like long intranet pages or short intranet pages. And generally they like short intranet pages unless they like the long page. So I'm going to redo the research this year. But the point is, people are kind of happy as long as they can scroll and get to what they want. But jump links can help if you're using a long intranet page. Do you call them jump links or in-page links, in-page navigation? They throw you up and down the very same page. Yeah, it's a bit confusing. So maybe check with your people, check with your users, and decide between a long page with jump links throwing you up and down, or a suite of intranet pages, 5, 6 pages interlinked. And you might have a think about helping your stakeholders move away from Word and PDF documents by saying, well, who needs to use this content? I know, Mavis, that it's easy for you to write a Word document. You love email and you love Word. But the people who are reading your content, they just want it. They don't want to have to think about the format. So take Mavis through the flow diagram and see if you can convince her, well, your content would work really well as an intranet page, and I've got the perfect section for it over here in our community. What's this? Well, if I know your intranet, which I don't, it might be your intranet. Is your intranet an engagement desert? I really hope not. Today you've already heard a great deal from Small Worlders about engagement, so I won't labour the point, but oftentimes we can start the conversation by asking for feedback. The trouble with the intranet is that it's difficult to see if everything's official and everything is hardcore. The fact is, I think a lot of us are doing a lot more informal communications right now, but not everyone recognises that. If it came from the CEO, if it came from the head of comms, it can feel very formal. And yet we're all ready for comments and feedback. So at the end of our articles, we should say, I welcome your comments. It's a very boring, obvious trick, but the fact is some people are afraid of being the first person to comment, so you should ask your network. You've got a comms network, you've got them on Yammer, you've got them on Chatty, you've got them on whatever your internal network is. Buzz them and say, I've just published something. Would you be the first person to say, didn't quite understand chapter 3, love your opening paragraph, just something to start the ball rolling. It's called seeding the conversation, and I hope you already do it with your discussion forums. Because message boards and discussion forums are really hard, aren't they? They often get launched without a purpose, so they can be really hard. So just start the conversation and seed it with your comms network colleagues. Ask for favours. So the idea of that road was a lot of people think the intranet is one channel. It's this way that we do things. And I would suggest that no, the intranet is a platform and it has multiple channels. So think of your intranet as a city rather than a highway. Anything could be going on and it is not all about the home page. How and where you publish content affects how people interact with it. So yes, a lot of people are going to think that the intranet is important. They're also going to think that it's formal. There are other areas of your intranet that you can be communicating through or engaging people at. And I suggest that we've got to stop putting the intranet as one channel on our channel matrix. You've got your channel matrix, you've got posters, you've got digital signage, and then on your channel matrix it just says the intranet. That's wrong. The intranet is multiple pages. There's blogs, there's wikis, there's pages, there's the communities of practice for work, personal interest groups for cycling and raising money for cancer. All of these things are places on the internet that you should go to. You can't always bring your audience to the homepage, so you should go to your audiences. And the idea is, do you know the Cathedral and Marketplace story? Oh, good. It's on Wikipedia, so you can find it better than me. But the idea is, we spend a certain amount of time, money, and effort on building our intranet, and in a way, we celebrate. Oh, look, we've got our homepage sorted. It's better than ever. And that's the Cathedral. That's the system. We've put the platform in. We've redesigned the UX and the UI, and we've got a homepage that really works for us on multiple devices. And that's the Cathedral. Now we go there all the time because we're the rector. Who looks after a cathedral? Bishop. Thank you. Right. So we go to the cathedral every day. We're the bishops. We go, oh well, wonderful, fantastic. It was some extra bell ringing today. But actually, the population of the village/town does not go to the cathedral every day. It's not appropriate for them. Royalty pop there every so often. I'm from Lichfield. Our cathedral is known as the king-making cathedral. So royalty pop to the cathedral every so often, and that's all very cool. But the general population don't have full use for it every day. But you know what? The market springs up around the cathedral and people want that every week. And that's where the work is getting done. That's where the collaboration is getting done. And these are your communities and your subsections for your intranet and your team sites and your working spaces. They wouldn't really pop up without the cathedral. They wouldn't have a great place on your intranet without an amazing platform and homepage. So you need them both. But we need to recognise the value and importance of those marketplaces, those communities and those working spaces that are completely outside our remit and outside the homepage. Check Wikipedia for a better telling of the story. And the only thing I have to say about social and mobile is if you expect your social intranet or your ESN, Enterprise Social Network, to take off, it needs a mobile element. You know, I'm not going to open my laptop just to say, thanks. But I will open my phone and say, hi Jessica, thanks, that's awesome. I'll do that on my phone all day long. So if you expect your ESN or your social intranet to take off, please consider your mobile solution part of it. Alrighty, did I get through all 10? Was that okay? You can have this PDF, it's a PDF. You can have this PDF and you can request the original Word document to use as your style guide. Sam Marshall has generously, he's from Clearbox, Sam Marshall edited it with me, so it's got his decades of experience on top of my whims, and you're welcome to have the PDF today, and you can also request a Word document from Sam, so I hope that suits you, and these slides will be made available very shortly. I'm Wedge. You can find me online at any time. Thank you very much.